from breast cancer awareness, and what are the trends going on today?
In some countries, it is going down. There are some European countries that has shifted their diet into eating a lot of greens, recognizing that fruit is very good. But there are some countries, mostly in Asia, who still follow the old nutritional advice of eating go, grow, and glow foods. Have you heard of that one?
And welcome to another Good Solid Health podcast. I'm Ronaldo, host Robert Gauthier, and we have our main doctor, our guest, Dr. Bien, over here for the third time and through our show. How are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you very much for again inviting me. And I'd like to shout out my regards to Robert. Thank you for this third episode. I hope I'll be able to share something that will be useful to those who would be listening.
Tell me,
Thank you.
Dr. Bien, thanks for the nice words, but the expression "the early bird gets the worm." I guess that applies to you this morning, huh?
Well, we just have to be persistent. As they say, success does not belong to the lucky ones, even to the educated ones or the rich ones. It belongs to those who are persistent, constantly working on it.
All right.
I
Okay.
love those quotes that you have. Like, you really need your book of quote, Dr. Bien, because you
Thank
always
you,
have a good
Ronaldo.
one during our show, and it's fun to hear. But welcome again. Good morning to you. We are speaking right now. We have approximately 13 hours of difference. And the reason why we decided to bring you in today's episode is because the month of October is equal to the International Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm told that you are an expert in this field. Even better, you hold a world record, and this happens to be the one with the highest incidence of breast cancer per capita in the world.
It's
Tell
not
me about
something
that.
I'm supposed to be proud of as a Filipino. Well, that is a crazy
It's a
statistic,
stat.
and I agree. Well, let us put it a level a little bit lower. I would not
Yeah,
say the world, perhaps in Asia.
in Asia.
Okay, at
Okay.
least that doesn't hurt so much.
That's a big territory to hold, but still, like, how did you get there? How did you end up like really going in that direction?
Well, as doctors, the truth is we do not know. But as an individual, I think it is because of our habits as a country, our propensity for certain lifestyle, and choosing certain foods. For example, doctors agree that genetics play a very big role. Before our country was discovered, I do not know if he was the one who really discovered our country. His name is Magellan, and he came to our shores. During that time, there were already natives, local people in our country, and there is no news of people developing breast cancer. So that means it must be probably brought to us by other races. Now, because our country is always accepting a lot of countries trying to colonize us, then we also absorb both the good things and the bad things. And one of the bad things that we absorb is the desire to eat a lot of sweets in
Oh,
whatever food that we have. Our burgers are sweet. Our spaghetti, unlike the Italian spaghetti, which is
sweet.
sour. Ours is very sweet. We do not put tomato sauce. We put ketchup. All our breads are sweet. And our children, from the moment they were born, it's a good thing now it is changing. They are already exposed to formula milk, less of the breast milk. And we know that formula milk contains a lot of sugars in it. So now science has discovered that sweets play a very big role in the development of tumors in cells. So I hope that answers your question, Ronaldo.
Well, it's an interesting point too, because I guess because you went as far as connecting really the culture that you guys are into even your field of expertise in which you have grown to become an expert too. And I find that's very quite interesting on how you made those both of those connections. And in regards to this, tumors is like a beginning stage to breast cancer or to any cancer, I would say, but in the specific topic of breast cancer, is this how it begins?
Well, it is like this. Let us talk a little bit about physiology. And I apologize to those who are watching who will find this a little bit technical. Well, all our cells divide. The division is called mitosis. One normal cell will divide into two daughter normal cells. Now, what if that cell that is supposed to divide is exposed to a lot of factors from the free radicals outside, from the diet that we eat, from the acid that is in our environment? That cell is not going to be normal. That will be an abnormal cells. Now, the abnormal cells will not divide to form new normal cells.
Mhm.
It will divide by mitosis to form abnormal daughter cells. Now, the problem here is abnormal cells divide faster. They multiply faster. So we call it hyperplasia or hyperplastic cells. That means they divide 5 times up to 10 times faster. That is why a normal breast will soon find herself with a small lump like a mongo or a corn-sized tumor in it. But in a matter of 6 months to less than a year, that small tumor can grow to the size of a grape and later on can grow to a size of a lemon. So the abnormal cells gives rise very fast to daughter abnormal cells.
And that's why I guess when you get the lump, when I know I've seen like women like when they start feeling on their breast that there's a little lump, that's when they get a bit insecure. Would that be, let's say, the beginning of the tumor growing?
That is exactly true. First, they find something between their fingers. They can feel it, but then they disregard it, thinking that it's probably just due to their menstrual cycle and hoping that it will disappear. But 2 months later, now they can actually feel it between their fingers and they can roll it between their thumb and their forefinger. Again, because of fear, they will probably disregard it. But when it grows to the size of a marble, the size of a grape, then it becomes a concern and they go to a doctor. And then the doctor will now ask them to do some tests. And it depends on the person. Some person will have a benign tumor, but unluckily, some will have a malignant tumor.
How long does it take from the moment that you feel it with a tip on your finger until it develops to being, let's say, the size of a grape? Is it like, does it vary from women to women or from individual to individual, or is going to be always like a similar pattern?
It varies and there's a lot of factors involved. Okay, I have seen some that in a matter of 6 months, it has grown to the size of a lemon, starting from a size of a corn kernel. Okay. But I have seen some who, after 5 years of coming to me, the size remains the same. So it could be genetics again. It could be the diet the person is eating. It could be the acid in the environment, including their way of thinking. So negativity affects the tumor a lot.
So stress, otherwise say.
Stress leads to negativity, and negativity leads to acid, and acid in the body affects the cells to be abnormal and later on hyperplastic.
So let's say in all these variable factors that you just mentioned, let's say the stress, the diet, is there anything that can be done about, let's say, even a prevention stage for any women, considering, let's say, if we take, for example, a teenage girl, and there would be a class in high school to educate them that women tend to be more acute to contracting these type of tumors that convert into breast cancer. What could be done at this stage, let's say, as a prevention?
Well, there's a simple way to do it. There is a radical way to do it. Let's go to the radical way first. I
I love
think
that
you
one.
have watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith by Brad Pitt
Yeah.
and Angelina Jolie. All right.
Yes.
Now, this lady learned that her mother carries the gene for tumor cells. It is called the BRCA gene. Now, the mother had her breast removed. The lady, the actress, fearing that she would have inherited the gene, the BRCA gene, had her breasts removed
Mm,
before she develops tumor. Now, that is a very radical way
that's
of doing
radical. All
it.
right.
Very,
I didn't
very
expect that
radical.
one.
I don't think a lot of women will have the confidence to do it. No? Now, let us go to the young ones, the teenager. It is difficult, but I think we should start earlier than the teenager uh, to change their choices of food. Teenagers would rather eat comfort food, would rather eat a lot of junk food, and prefer a lot of sweets. Now, there are people, there are tribes, especially in Asia and even in Africa, that are not exposed to all of these junk foods, and they are not attracted to it. So I think people in the West should start thinking about a good choice of diet. Secondly, on the side of doctors advising women, young women, we tell them to know how to do their own breast self-examination. I think I have some pictures of that one where before their menses, for example, if a girl's mens starts on the first of the month, and then if she has a 30-day cycle, it will start again on the 30th of that or the end of that month. Then in the middle of the month, that is between her menstrual cycle, like the 14th of the 15th, is the best time to do a breast self-examination. Okay? I do not know if we can show that picture
Yeah, you have
doing
a
the
picture that
breast
you sent us.
self-examination. Yeah.
So it's going to
All
pull
right.
up.
All they need to do is raise their hand like this, and with their two fingers, start in a clockwise manner, palpating or feeling for a small lump until they reach the armpit here and until they reach the neck here. And that's what they would like to look for.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah,
Can we
we should
show it
have.
now? Are
Yeah,
we
we're
showing it?
showing. We're looking for the picture right now as we speak. It's going to be up,
Okay.
but it's very interesting. Like, I like what you're saying. And let's say educating, let's say young girls to at an early stage, maybe to take some better habits. And this comes once again to the education part of breast cancer awareness. So here it is. This is the example you were showing, right?
That's true. That's true. That's what they have to look for. They have to look for small lumps in their breasts. It depends on the country and the race. Some will have bigger breasts than the others, but size does not matter for developing tumors. Some small breasts can develop very big tumors. Okay, age does not matter as well. Tumors can develop at any age, even during uh, teenage years, and even after menopausal age. So it's very important that women do a breast self-examination between their menstrual cycle.
In between. So
In
this,
between.
so in between the menstrual cycle, it's just going to be more apparent that there's some activity going on over the cells and of the breast tissue.
Yes. Because during menses, Ronaldo, I'm sure you know this, during menses, the breasts are engorged and usually are larger. So it must be a little bit difficult to do a self-examination during that time.
All right, interesting. So we probably have other picture we'd be able to show further down the conversation, but maybe
Uh-huh.
to get back
Maybe we
to,
can
let's say,
show some more pictures and I can make a comment
oh,
on this. All right, this one is the nipple. Okay, can we go back to the nipple? There. While they do their breast examination, they must actually press their nipple. They should look for discharges in the nipple. Normally, unless you are lactating and have given birth recently, you should have no discharge on the nipple. Now, a small clear fluid, if you press it too hard, it's normal. But when you press it and you see a yellowish, a greenish, or a milky white discharge, that is already
It's a
something
sign.
as well. Yes. And beside the nipple, the next picture will show us the areola. Now,
Ooh.
you know this is not a normal areola.
No, that
This
is.
is a nipple that has gone inverted and affected already the areola, that means the surrounding area. And you can see there are flakes of skin in there. That
Yes.
is a sign of a particular tumor in the breast called the Paget's tumor of the nipple and areola.
Yeah, that's
Scary, Ronaldo?
yes, it
Scary?
is, and it's how long does it take for something like that to develop? Because I don't think it would be something overnight, but you would
Not
begin seeing
overnight,
some
but in a
signs.
matter of months. In a
Okay, a
matter
matter of
of 2,
months.
3, or 4 months, you can see from a normal nipple goes into inverted nipple and then affects the areola.
And once the areola becomes at that level, at what stage are we talking about of development the tumor is? Is it maybe when it's still like a kernel, or maybe has reached nearly a grape or maybe lemon size tumor?
Well, as doctors, we would like to grade it by numbers and then by letters in it. So this type of areola with nipple inverted would, I think, be a grade 2 and either 2A or 2B stage of breast tumor.
Okay, 2B, 2A, 2B. Okay.
So perhaps we can take away the picture now. I think it scares a lot of women who will be watching us. And this is the way to do the breast examination. As I was saying, they must include the armpit because the breast is not rounded. It is the size of a teardrop with the
Yeah.
tail going to the armpit.
Hmm.
And that armpit is where a lot of the lymph nodes happen, as well on the side of the neck. Okay, so perhaps we can take this away as well. Do you see anything interesting in the previous one? Can we show the previous one where there's a wet t-shirt?
Speaking from nipple, this could be maybe like breastfeeding. I know my wife is in
No,
this
that lady
stage.
is not breastfeeding.
Yeah. All right.
That is a condition called the Paget's disease. That lady is not breastfeeding, but she has constant wetness in her nipple, and then she can see it on her shirt or in her brassiere. And that is a reason to go to a doctor.
That's another sign that we can. So it could be that's an
Uh-huh.
inverted areola. We had the leaking nipples. So two signs, and aside too from getting the lump on the side of the breast. That's by just following straight to the armpit. So it's fun because I'm learning as we speak this, and definitely something I'll have a discussion with my wife. But she's very she's a person that always searches for information. So this is the reason why really breast cancer awareness was created. So what are the important elements that we want to be able to? All right. So what are the important elements that we want to be able to grasp information from breast cancer awareness, and what are the trends going on today?
In some countries, it is going down. There are some European countries that has shifted their diet into eating a lot of greens, recognizing that fruit is very good. But there are some countries, mostly in Asia, who still follow the old nutritional advice of eating go, grow, and glow foods. Have you heard of that one?
No, it's a new one. Go, grow, and glow.
Okay, it's a triangle that some of the older doctors are teaching the children to eat go. The bigger part of the triangle here means carbohydrates.
Okay.
Grow, the middle of the triangle would be the protein, and glow, the tip of the triangle, which is a very small triangle, to eat veggies and vegetable. Now that is a wrong advice now. But a lot of countries, Asian countries, eat a lot of rice here, a lot of noodles here. So we are still in the go stage. And that is not good because carbohydrates is converted to glucose, which again becomes sugar and which again propagates to tumor formation. So we should be promoting an inverted triangle where we have a lot of the veggies, less of the carbo, and middle would be the protein.
I have a question that I want to get to ahead of a question, but I find like is the best moment to ask. Is all right, for example, let's consider it that well, let me ask you a question before I get to the other one, you'll understand. Is breast cancer genetic?
Yes and no. You can get it from a parent, or not necessarily from your parent, but from if your parent skips it, your grandparent skips it, but from your older relatives, you can still get it because it also comes from a gene, BRCA gene. But we see a lot of women who does not have the tumors in their family history develop breast cancer. So it is both genetic and acquired.
All right. So the question that follows this is considering let's take the scenario where it's genetic. So you know that let's say it was previously diagnosed within maybe your aunt or your mother or grandmother, and when it comes to let's say the young lady, she's more prone to developing a breast cancer. However, if she was to follow, let's say these advice of changing completely the diet, in your case, as the first thing you mentioned is sweets, it's a strong driver to developing breast cancer and tumors, rather. So let's say at early stage, she knows she's genetic, but she cuts the sweet and follows, let's say, a good lifestyle that allows to, go against all these elements that are prone to develop a tumor. Can you get away from it?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, the genes could be present in your cells, but it does not have to manifest itself.
Mhm.
The cells will still divide to normal cells because it is not manifesting.
Okay.
It will only manifest if you electrocute it. So-called electrocute the cells with bad things.
All right. All right. So interesting. That's good. That's good. I like. So right now, one of the most one of the ways to detect, let's say, the tumor at an early stage, well, we're all familiar with, is a mammogram. And I believe there has been some research pointing out some dangers. Is that a fact? Are there really dangers to mammograms? Is there any alternative?
Yes, both yes and yes. First of all, we are not fond of mammograms here in the Philippines. You know, our breast sizes is 32. Compared to your country, your breast sizes are 36 to 40. So there is something to put in the X-ray machine. We
Yeah.
don't.
Okay, I see what you're
If
coming
we
from.
try to squeeze it, what we have is just the nipple in between. So we have devised other ways to check the breast. Instead of X-rays, we are doing ultrasound instead. Now, the next yes I'm saying is this. Pierre Marie Curie knew it. She's the one who discovered radiation.
Yes.
And it killed her. Any radiation can kill in the long run. I know of some fellow colleagues, doctors who are radiologists. They have this small thing that they attach here in their breast pocket. It measures the radiation that they have received so far in the day in and day out that they take x-rays of people. They retire at the very age of 35. Young age of 35, because the sensor has already recorded a very high dose of radiation in them. And if they don't retire, then they may develop tumors due to the radiation itself. So the answer is yes and yes. Now, what we're doing is a lot of ultrasounds in our women.
All right. And like we're aware of everything going on. So why is breast cancer such a lethal and progressive cancer as opposed to all other cancers? Because I believe that what I've read is that breast cancer is one of the is the biggest, let's say, cancer that will kill women. specifically women. I know men have a slight chance of contracting it, but let's say more speaking on the women's side, what makes it so lethal as opposed to any other type of cancer?
Well, men can also have breast cancer, but less than women. And it is uh, common among women because of the hormones of women. The
Uh,
hormones are the estrogen and the progesterone. Now, there are women who, in all of their lives, do not even develop any small lump in their breast. I have seen that in my grandmothers, those who live in the provinces, those who live very simple lives, and those who eat what they grow. But now I see a lot of that in the city because we eat what we buy. So I think it boils down to, again, a little part on the genes, but a very big part that we acquire it from our lifestyle.
so lifestyle is a big player in which on how you can take care of yourself.
I would say 80%, Ronaldo.
80%, huh? That
80%
much?
is lifestyle.
And what would be the other 20%?
That would be the genes.
The
That
gene.
we
Okay.
cannot, get away from.
Okay. All right. So talking about the lifestyle, as a lifestyle, what measures can we take today? Like, how can we, let's say, many things have been discussed. Let's say the lifestyle, the dieting, the stress, the mental, the environment, the culture. What I've learned from what you just said are big. Seems to be big drivers to that can develop these type of cancer. What can we do now?
Well, for the women, this is my advice. Uh, Drink a lot of water instead of cola drinks with your burger. And ditch the burger and instead remove both the burger and the bread and just ask for the lettuce.
Okay, that's a good direction. We can cure many things that way.
That's just kidding aside, but a lot of people survive on that burger and cola drinks, and they're very proud of it. And after that, they go to a coffee shop and they drink a lot of this,
A $10
coffee,
coffee.
and which brings more acid into their body. So again, live simply is my advice. The
So,
simpler we live, the better and longer we do.
is there anything, let's say, related to the immune system that can be also done?
Oh
That
yes, I believe so much in boosting the immune system. In my more than 25 years of medical practice, aside from prescribing all synthetic medicines only, I mix that with natural medicines, which include supplements. So I like
yes.
to prescribe supplements a lot together with their prescription because I believe prescription can only be given for a very short time, maybe a week, 2 weeks, or a month, but they cannot live on a lot of medication all their lives. So I find something that is equivalent to their medication that is natural, and then that's what I prescribe that they take it on the long term. I have patients that was given less than 6 months to live because they have stage 3B up to stage 4. These are several patients of breast cancer. And when they came to us, when they said they were only given 6 months to live, some I have been seeing for the last 13 years.
Oh.
Yeah, some of their doctors have died ahead of them. So by changing their habits, by taking what is good for them, 13 years is much better than 6 months. It's quality 13 years.
That's great. So just by consulting, let's say someone that had a different approach, just like you, who's in big favor for natural supplement, you just made a complete 180 on their life. Like they were given 6 months, and then you stretch it to 13 years.
Actually, that is a blessing. That's of course a blessing from the Lord above. That some of these patients, were able to discover how to take care of themselves. And I just see them monthly, and we just continue with whatever that we are doing.
Well, congratulations. We need more people like you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm not trying to just lift my chair or blow up my own balloon. They can see that in some of my posts in YouTube, so that they can see that there's the actual person in there who's talking about it. It's just not me saying it. But it's not to brag, because it's not my work. I always credit it to the one above. But this is my thinking, Ronaldo. Yes, chemotherapy can help kill your cancer cells if you have it. But at the same time, it will kill your normal cells. Now, if your doctor, if your oncologist is not giving you a supplement together with your chemotherapy or together with your radiation, then you hasten the death of many of your normal cells. But if you add something to it that is natural, that is good for your body, that will complement their treatment, then you have a better chance of letting your normal cells survive. You don't go very thin. You can see people who undergo chemo and radiation go very thin.
Okay.
You don't sink. You don't have sunken eyes. You don't go very dry. You don't go nauseous and vomiting all the time and lose all your hair and have no desire to live anymore, because those are what synthetic chemicals does to the body. But if you add something natural to it, then the body recognizes it and uses it, for metabolism, for repair and regeneration. And that, I think, is where medicine should go forward, to combine the Western and the Eastern approaches, the synthetic and the natural approaches. But sadly, some colleagues are still big-headed and does not want to admit it.
Well, there's a lot of, we can talk about politics and money, I guess, around this conversation, this topic. In our case, so we had the podcast, as you already know. Our main thing is trying to always promote the natural way of doing things. The GSH complex, for example, boosting the immune system. Right now, as we speak, this is cold cough flu season. And boosting the immune system is just the best thing you want to be able to do. Have a supplement, a natural supplement.
I agree.
And I guess
it's not just against the viruses. It's not just against the microbes. It's just because of the season that you get infected. You have to boost your immune system all the time. Because remember, all the time, the cells divide after 72 hours. That means our skin cells, our internal organs, they divide constantly after 72 hours. So that means after a week, you are a completely new Ronaldo.
It feels like that.
That means your cells have divided already after a week.
And after shedding the skin, and it's a good way.
We shed outside as well as we shed inside. We shed our intestinal villi. We shed that. We shed our blood after 120 days. It's totally new after 3 months. Whatever blood you have before is totally new after 3 months.
All right. And finally, to close this conversation, because a lot was said, a lot was learned in the short period that we had discussion.
Controversial learning, huh, Ronaldo? Very controversial. I hope I do not offend if there are any colleagues or doctors or people in science watching this. I do not intend, to provoke you. It's just to tell you what it is. What is the reality?
And what would be a big fact of breast cancer that you can give based on your experience?
Well, early detection is very important, and that is on the side of the doctor. But on the side of the person, prevention is the best form of cure. So prevent yourself from developing these tumors by doing what is correct for your body, what is originally designed for your body. See our teeth, Ronaldo?
Yes.
CRK9, it's very short. Compare the canine among dogs, cats, tigers, lions, which are very long. So we are not designed to eat a lot of meat. It's straight. We should eat like cows.
Grass-fed.
Eat grass.
Eat grass, like you said. Trade your soda for water. Trade the burger for just the lettuce.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Dr.
take your
Bien,
supplements. Trust your doctor and take your supplements. I am sure your doctor would be well-meaning, and find a doctor who is nutritionally inclined to help your condition.
well, sounds amazing. Hey, Dr. Bien, yeah, I know you're a busy man, but you gave us some good time over here. And I really appreciate all the information for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I hope everyone listening to this is going to take some good information. The one that I like to take away is like even how you opened it. The sweetness could drive, it could be a factor to developing the tumors. And that's something I could retain definitely. So thank you again.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be interviewed by you. And it is an honor to be invited by Robert all the time. Schedule permitting, I am always available. However, my apologies if sometimes I am delayed, I am late. There are some concerns that is pertaining to my practice as well. So to everyone who is watching this, do take care.
Thank you very much. Once again, one more last word, Robert, you want to add?
Hey, listen, you guys did a fantastic job. Dr. Bien, I really appreciate you coming on board like this. Of course, getting a professional in our podcast adds more credibility and value. And we always like to have your smile. You're always there with a big smile. So no, that's about it. You guys did a fantastic job.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Bien.
Everyone.
And I see you for the next episode, which you'll get an invitation for another one of our topics. Good Solid Health Podcast. Thank you again, Robert, Dr. Bien. We'll see you guys again.
Good night.
Night.
This pandemic, we have finally realized how important our body's immunity is. But do you know the cells in your body are constantly exposed to such harmful threats daily? Bacteria, viruses, parasites, EMF radiations all interact with these cells and try to disable their day-to-day functionalities. The GSH compound binds itself to it, prevents its replication, and renders it water-soluble. It neutralizes the effects of EMF radiations by conjugating and changing their structure, which enables detoxification at an intracellular level. Want to know more? Visit us at www.simcorp.ca today.